You can get it. Marvelous.
Yo, what's good? Welcome back to the channel, y'all. And look. Today we have another OP08 weekly power rankings for The Sims. So this is pretty much solidifying what are the top decks in our current meta. So let's go ahead and get straight into it, gang. As you guys see on the screen right now, we have all the top 10 decks on the sim. Let's go ahead and take a look at them, then we'll look at some deck lists. But to be honest with you guys, a lot of these deck lists are pretty much the same compared to week 3, so I probably won't spend too much time on it compared to last week. So let's just go ahead and get started. First and best deck is still Lucci, sitting at over 12,000 matches, 6,000 wins, 5,000 losses at a 52 win percentage. This is the best deck in the format. I don't think anybody's gonna argue with that. The next best deck in the format has to be Nami. Nami, I'm gonna tell you right now, you're lucky I'm on a time crunch and ain't gonna be really any edits at all in this video, but the fact that you are at number 2 is scary. Actually, I am happy that Nami is number 2, playing 4,000 matches, winning 2,000, losing 2,069, 52 win percentage. I actually want Nami to be the best deck in the room. I wanted it to win every single tournament just so Bandai can just ban this whole leader. So I'm actually very excited that Nami is almost at number 1. Hopefully she does hit number 1 and just tears havoc, because once that happens, we can just RP law it out of the whole entire meta. So I'm happy for you, Nami. So number 3, we're at BY Luffy. 4, we have Zoro, not surprising. 5th, we have Purple Luffy. So it actually went downhill, but like I said, in 2 weeks this deck becomes a top 5 deck. I don't think it's even the 5th best deck. I feel like it might be even 3 or 4, but you know, once those structured decks does come out, it does get a bump. Bonnie has seen some rise as well, sitting at the 6th spot. Monkey D. Luffy, the ST14 black mono deck, is going down in popularity. I told you guys this deck is going to end up stop being so popular. I'm keep telling you guys the same thing. Just like I said, wait a couple more weeks, it probably won't be top 10. Calgera is dropping, Reiju's dropping, and Katakuri is dropping. So honestly, this whole entire list is the same exact list from last week, just a couple decks moved up and down. So let's go ahead and get straight into the deck list real quick, gang. Let's get it. And before I start, I need to tell you guys this, Sim Team, if you guys watch this, you guys have to fix your fucking deck list, because every time you try to copy them, none of these lists work. You literally have to go into a different file and separate the spaces with each type of code you guys are putting, bro. You guys cannot put a space after every single code, because you cannot load up these codes. So if people are trying to try these decks, they can't use them. You guys got to fix that shit, gang. Let's go ahead and get straight into it. The 10th best deck that we have on the sim for our week 4 power rankings is Katakuri, playing 2,994 matches, winning 1,400, losing 1,500. So it actually has a negative percentage at 49.3% when it comes to high ranking elo players. Okay, when we take a quick look at the list, it almost kind of looks like the same exact list I showed you guys I think 2 weeks ago. Nothing has really changed. If anything has really changed, was probably has to be the Sanji. I see that this particular deck is starting to play Sanji a little bit more. They're running 2 Gadatsus. I think you might want to bump this up to 3 just in case you end up going first, because on curve you will always get a kill with Gadatsu if you go first, any 4-drop or lower. He's running the 4 Capone, the 4. I mean, this looks like a very regular type of list. The only thing that's different too is they are running 4. You're the one that disappear. Not a bad card to run 4. You're the one that disappear, because it's one of the best yellow cards in the game, being able to replenish your life off of your last life as well, and also giving you an extra 3k boost is unmatched. Very strong card. And when we just look at everything else in the deck, everything else kind of looks the same. So yeah, let's go ahead and get straight into our next deck, gang. Let's get it. Taking the 9th spot in our weekly power rankings has to be Reiju. Reiju is actually found a decline, but it's still in the top 10. It ended up taking pudding spot compared to week 1 and week 2. It is at the 9th spot, playing 2,000 matches, 1,000 wins, 1,118 losses. So it really only has a negative win percentage by 8 games, sitting at a 49.6%. Like I said last week, when it comes to Ďauťu, it's a very, very aggressive deck, one of the hardest decks to use as well. Usually if you guys don't see stage, or if you just misplay like with one of your ETGs or use the judge at the wrong time, you will end up losing. When I'm actually just looking at this base list that's coming from the sim, everything almost kind of looks the same. Yeah, everything kind of looks the same. He's running 2, 3, okay. Yeah, everything kind of looks the same. I mean, there's really nothing too different with this Ďauťu deck. I feel like this is solved. So let's go ahead and get on to the next deck. ďauťu. ďauťu has always been a great deck. The fact that RP Law is not here to really, you know, destroy it, it's the reason why it's at the 8th spot. I know a lot of people saying, oh, well, it's going down in, you know, win rate. It doesn't matter. It's still in the top 10. And as long as you're in the top 10, that's all that really matters. We're sitting at 2,000 matches played, 1,153 wins, 1,065 losses. So it does have a win percentage of 49.7%. Only 3% lower than the 50% threshold everybody likes to go by, which deck you should be using in the meta, which I also don't believe in. Just looking at this base deck for ďauťu, everything also looks the same. Only difference is that he is also running the 2 Thor and maybe 1 Ďauťu. I ended up using my Ďauťu in my main list for BY now, and that shit is actually great. Maybe probably bump this up to 2 and probably like 3 or 4 L doors. I'm not a fan of Flame Spit, and I know a lot of other people aren't a fan of Flame Spit. If anything, I'll just probably try to get a little bit more Thors in the rotation a little bit. But besides that, everything else looks the same. Still running the 2 aces, still running the 1 Katakuri. Everything else looks like it's the same. And what you guys are going to start noticing in a lot of these meta tier, you know, type of lists, is that a lot of these decks are pretty much solved. Usually you can only run maybe 1 or 2 type of tech cards, such as like the Flame Splits and the Kingdom Comes, you know what I mean? So a lot of these decks are solved. So, you know, I'm not going to really spend too much time on it. If you guys do want to know how to beat ďauťu, I have a card at the top. But yeah, ďauťu, if you guys like aggro type of decks, rushing the board, slap your mama type of decks, this is the deck for you. Very cheap. You can max out literally the whole entire deck for, I think, underneath $70, which is crazy. And yeah, y'all, this is something you're interested in, and you feel like being part of the gang, YGOD, go ahead and tap in, pick this up. Let's go ahead and get straight to the next deck. Next deck we're going to talk about is ST14 Luffy, and it's coming at a 7th place ranking right now. I'm going to just keep it a stack of you guys. Out of all the decks that I feel like is going to fall out of the meta the hardest when the structure decks come out is this deck, okay? I mean, we're going to talk about this briefly because we really only have 2 more weeks until the structure decks do come out. And once the structure decks do come out, I do feel like this is going to be possibly a cope deck, okay? So let's go ahead and get straight to it. He is running the, you know, of course you have to run the leader. He's running the 2 issues, just being able to keep your opponent's hand size low. He is also running the 3 Nico Robins, being able to have some cost reduction, because if you guys did not notice already, this deck really does struggle with cost reduction. That's the reason why they're running the 4 Ice Ages, the 4 Kuzan, and the 3 Nico Robin. The base of this deck is being able to abuse these cost reductions and pretty much pop things with this Sanji, Jack, and T-Bone, okay, and Brooks. So that's pretty much the gist of this deck. Everything else kind of looks the same. Like I said earlier, a lot of these decks are pretty much solved. But moving forward for ST14, not ST14, that's the deck we're talking about. When we talk about the new structure decks get released, I feel like this deck probably won't even be in the top 10 anymore, okay? That's all I got for Black Luffy. Let's go ahead and get straight to the next deck. Next deck that we have feature is Bonnie. I feel like Bonnie's been staying around 5 to 7. Like I said earlier, Bonnie's pretty much figured as well. She played 3,890 games, 1,984 wins, 1,900 losses, or if you guys really want to be real specific, 1,906 losses, sitting at a 51% win rate. Very, very good deck. This deck is actually seeing a ton of popularity in OP09 right now. For some reason, there's a huge Bonnie surge going on. So if you guys are playing Bonnie right now in OP08, you guys can keep on playing this thing in OP09 because it's having a huge surge. There's been a couple tournaments, or I think I've seen like 3 or 4 tournaments. It was straight Bonnie winner, Bonnie 2nd place, Bonnie 3rd place, Bonnie 4th place. So Bonnie has really been taken off. If that's something that you have some interest in moving into OP09, Bonnie's looking like a really good deck in the long haul, okay? Just looking at the deck list, everything looks the same. She is also running this carrot. I've actually never seen this carrot before. This is definitely a way different disc compared to last week. She's running this carrot. I actually never seen anybody run this carrot before. Usually they run that where they can freeze your opponent's rested character. Next card they're running is the Hoodie Jones. He running the 2 Rosante. Okay, Baby 5. Yeah, I'm looking at everything else in this deck. Everything else pretty much just looks the same. Like I said earlier in all my other types of review of the deck, all this stuff is solved. The only shiesty ass thing I see is this one. This card right here is definitely shiesty. I've never seen anybody use this card in this deck. And also being able to have your big boss monsters with ďaufuⱠⱠ, tying down any character that is rested, freezing them for the turn, and just being able to really have some big board control with this Useless Captus Kid. Very, very strong card. What I'm starting to notice too is that a lot of these bounties aren't running Zoro. Seems like Zoro is falling out of meta since everybody's killing it, so they're opting out to run the ďaufuⱠⱠ. So that is actually something very, very big to note. Bonnie is no longer playing any Zoros, and it isn't just this list, it's a lot of the lists that I've been seeing in OP08 and OP09. Zoro looks like is officially out of the deck. Very shiesty ass list from this Bonnie list that Sim provided. Let's go ahead and get straight to the next deck. Now, when it comes to any of the decks that have one of the biggest upgrades besides Dofi in this top 10 has to be Monkey D. Luffy, Purple Luffy, Ploofy. So with that said, if you look at the current matches right now, we're looking at 3,562 matches, 1,822 wins, 1,740 losses, sitting at a 51.2 percentage. I'm gonna tell you right now, if this deck is at the 5th rank on the sim when it comes to high players, without the support, sitting at a 51.2% win rate, this deck probably might be the 2nd or 3rd best. Actually, no, it's probably going to be the 3rd best deck in the format, and we're not even OP09, which is crazy. Let's go over this deck list real quick. We have, like I said, the leader just having a beat stick with a counter. You guys also didn't tell me what this card is used for in my last video, so if you guys know what the Scratchman is used for, let me know. But the main gist of this deck is really just abusing Magellan. A lot of people rely on their high-end characters to win games and put a lot of pressure on your life, and just being able to slow them down with Magellan is the reason why this deck is functioning the way it is. Okay, on top of the 3 Linlin, and this is crazy because the list last week, I swore they only had 1 or 2 Linlins, and I told you guys the sim needs to do better because there's no way you just run 1 or 2 of these. This is a staple in this deck. This card in particular is a staple in this deck, and is the reason why Ploofy got so much of a power buff is because this card allows you to replenish your life, which means if you replenish your life, you can abuse your ability. If you abuse your ability, you can abuse more Dons. So the fact that this card was sitting at 1 or 2 in our last list last week and the sim corrected, it just pretty much tells me and the delinquents that they're tapping in, and as you should. If you tapped in, you definitely should be a subscriber. You should definitely become a member. Okay, I'm trying to show y'all motherfuckers off on the channel, fact, not an opinion. But when we talk about Charlotte Lillian, this is one of the main wheels on the deck. I feel like out of all the cards in this Purple Luffy deck, these are the 2 most important cards. You have your Kaido to clean up the card, you have the combo with Uta as well, best blocker in the game right here, and everything else kind of really looks the same. But the main wheels of this deck has to be the Magellan and the Charlotte Lillian, and the sim took some time out today to fix these ratios because, like I said, running 1 or 2 of these are actually terrible, so 3 is just perfect. That's all I got for Ploofy. If you guys do want to play a deck that's going to be probably a top 3 deck in OP09, this is definitely the deck you guys need to tap into and cop right now before, you know, the streets buy it out. That's all I got for Ploofy. Let's go ahead and get straight to our next deck. Now for our number 4 deck, we have the best deck in the format, and that's Roronoa Zoro, Red Zoro. We're sitting at 4th place when it comes to the power rankings. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm actually very, very surprised that this deck is still sitting in the top 5 decks. I talk a lot of shit on Zoro, but just to keep it a stack, I am actually very surprised that Zoro is still in the top 5 decks for the OP08 meta. This Red Zoro has played 4,540 matches on the sim, 233 wins and 2,207 losses, sitting at a 51.4% win rate. So this is the 4th highest win rate in the game at the moment when it comes to OP08's meta. So like I said earlier, in all the other deck profiles that we went over so far, is that a lot of these decks are really the same. The only difference is that I really see this Sanji. I don't really see too many people use this Sanji, but this deck is really just held by glue by this Tony Chopper package. Okay, if you guys couldn't tell already, this is actually the zoo package. When we say zoo, if you are new, you're pretty much having a package with this chopper and all the animal type cards like the ones you see me highlighting over the screen at the moment. Okay, being able to clean out some games with Kid and Killer is actually very shiesty, in tandem with the 3-drop one or Zoro's, also very good. We have this as well, being able to boost up your power by 3,000. Pretty much anything that's 2,000 or higher, it gets a boost and allows you to attack the opponent's leader. The only thing that I really see changed in this particular list compared to the last list that we went over last week has to be that I don't think Dragon was added to this list. I mean, apparently Dragon's not added to this list, but last week I'm pretty sure Dragon was to this list. I don't know why they took away the Dragon in the Zoro list. I always feel like, you know, you probably need like 2 or 3 boss monsters in the deck, but this Zoro version, this Zoro package is really just opting out to really just spam the board with low cost characters and fucking everybody's bitch. Okay, so look, that's all I got for Red Zoro. I know I usually joke about Red Zoro, but you know, it's a long running joke that I'm pretty much going to rest. Let's go ahead and get straight into the next deck, gang. Let's get it. So the next deck we're going to be going over is probably the #1 deck in the format. I mean, this has to be the most shystest deck in the streets right now. I mean, if you want a bad bitch, you just play this deck. You want to hit $1 million in the lottery, go ahead and play this deck. You want to win 18 cereals, go ahead and play this deck. Okay, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Look, BY Luffy, in my opinion, is the best deck of the format, but the sim has it at 3. As long as it's in the top 10, that's all that I only care about. It's played 7,000 matches so far with 3,795 wins, 3,524 losses, sitting at a 51.9% win rate. Okay, I'm not going to really go over this deck list too much, but just to keep it a stack of you guys, this deck list just looks absolutely horrendous. Try! The Sims version of this deck list is playing 2 Kuzan, 2 Borsalino, 1 Kuzan, 1 Ace, 1 Ace, 1 Sabo, 1 Finger Pistol, 1 Ice Age. I mean, this list is actually just fucking dog shit.
Know your fucking place, trash. Fucking robots.
Who like, I'm starting to think you guys just got some random cards and closed your eyes and you guys just started, you know, clicking the cards down here and you're like, you know what, that's the fucking deck right there, you know, this is it. But this deck looks absolutely hot garbage. Okay, let me show you my list, which you know, it's pretty much tech for what's going on in OP09. Main reason why I'm teching it for OP09 because, you know, we have 8.5 coming out, but this is the list I'm opting to go out for right now, gang. That other list was actually trash. So let's go over my personal list. We are running the 2 Kuzans. The only thing that's really different compared to a lot of my other lists that I had, you know, last week or just on the channel when it comes to deck profiles is this Rego. I've replaced this Rego with the 5-cost Sabo and also the 4-cost Finger that pops a 5-cost or lower. And I'm gonna keep the stack of you guys. Kingdom Come is actually great. I mean, honestly, it just has so much utility. Just being able to use the added trigger and pretty much have a Yamato effect at a trigger, #1. #2, it KOs any big bodies on the field. So when it comes to BY Luffy, the biggest thing about this deck and what it struggles with is really high character monsters, really any characters with 9,000 power or more, because we only usually end up bringing out 2 or 3 Sabos, and the fact that we only have 1 big monster in Gecko, and after we end up doing the cycle with Gecko, we're only sitting at 11,000 power. So when it comes to like Yonkos that have 12,000 power, or the future Gold D Roger as well that has 13 power, or just anything problematic on the field, I feel like Kingdom Come can replace your Sabos and Finger Gun. Okay, this is my personal list. You guys can play this list as well, but this list, bro, I'm gonna just keep it a stack of you guys. This list just got too much shit going on. I mean, honestly, you have too much shit going on. It literally doesn't make sense. If you guys do want to copy a list, go ahead and copy this list. This is the list that everybody's kind of, you know, exploring right now. But I really do love this Kingdom Come. Just being able to get rid of anything without a problem. And on top of it, if you're getting starved, which a lot of people end up doing, if you guys know how to beat Luffy, card at the top. If you are getting starved, you can literally just pop this Kingdom Come, make your life at 1, and now Flam P, and now you have no cards in your whole entire life. So very strong card. I feel like this is the proper list you should be running for 8.5 and OP09. In my opinion, you guys can use whatever list you guys want, but let's go ahead and go straight to the next best deck, and that's Nami. And that is the deck list of Nami, sitting at second place, 52 win percentage, 4,300 matches, 2,243 wins, and 2,069 losses. I hope you guys like the deck profile. If you guys are wondering how come I wasn't speaking for so long, because I did actually just fall asleep in my chair just loading up this deck. So second ranked deck, Nami. I hope you become number one so we can ban this hoe, okay? Now let's go ahead and get straight into the best deck of the format, and this is Lucci. Lucci also has the most games played when it comes to high rank elo. It's played 12,531 matches, which is crazy. That is so many damn games. 6,596 wins, 5,935 losses, sitting at a 52.6% win rate. I'm gonna just keep it real with y'all. There's really nothing that we need to go over with this deck. The only difference I see them running is this card right here. Honestly, I'm gonna let you guys on a little tech that the OCG, I said the OCG, I'm not playing Yu-Gi-Oh, the East is playing, is that I've been seeing a lot of people, instead of playing that card, they end up playing this card right here. It's the Sabo. It's the big boy Sabo, just for board removal and everything. So you guys can play the initial version like this, but I feel like with the Sabo might be a little bit better. Like I said, you guys do have some, you know, some wiggle room when it comes to what tech cards you want to play, but you know, I just want to show you guys some different options because Lucci's pretty much figured out, you know, Rebecca turns this deck into a 22 Dong combo. I mean, this deck has been around since OP07. There's really no reason to go over it like that. Tempest Kiss is broken. Gecko Morio is pretty broken as well. I mean, this deck is solved. You guys can change it up, but if you're going to a high-end tournament, this is probably the best deck you want to take. But if I have to be honest with you guys, I honestly feel like this deck is going to get banned. If you guys did not see that video card at the top as well. Hey y'all, I hope you guys like this meta breakdown. Sorry for the lack of edits. I was kind of in a rush. Next week we'll be back to normal. Hopefully I have my schedule kind of changed low key. And yeah, y'all, if you guys have any more questions, or if you guys have some specific text that you guys want to use, let the community know below. Number one. And number two, hey, I'll see you guys next week for the meta report, okay? Look, I'm about to be out, but before I go, if you was feeling the vibes, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. It all gone.